Hello. Can you hear me? Are we? Oh boy. This hat is going to stay on for a whole 2.5 seconds to give you the vibes, okay? Here's like the full vibe, okay? I'm witchy today. This evening stream is brought to you by Nasha. If you haven't tried their hash, they also have really awesome pre-rolls, which is what I'm smoking right now. Come on, baby. I can go up close. I got us a close-up cam. So here, look at you guys. Look at me. Look at how pro I am. Give a shout out to Nasha. Thanks for making this stream possible. I've got my ashtray here. Okay, this thing is. Look at what it did to my hair. Ugh. Okay, it's a mess. It's absolutely a mess. But we're gonna just zhuzh it up a little bit. What's the chat? Oh, can you guys hear me? Okay, I kind of got this mic away from my mouth. Okay, just tighten up everything. Tighten it up. Okay, you stay like this. Tighten it here. Okay. All right, let me see what everyone is saying. That second can had some feedback on the mic. Oh, you know what? Fucking A, thank you so much. Let me go back to that. There we go. Oh, wait. Boop it, scene. Feedback. Do you guys still get feedback there? Watch Sesh, I don't have a browser up yet. Main. Go back to the we're just having a night. Okay, there we go. Anyway, happy almost Halloween. We're going to look at witches this evening. I thought it would be a good time to talk about witches and their role in history and how witchcraft, women who are into herbalism and healing with plant medicine were often targeted by the patriarchy. Just remember, just because people are women doesn't mean that they can't be enablers of the patriarchy, right? So, sometimes women were the ones who were calling other women the Salem witch trials. So I'm loving this wig. I don't know. Also, this is a very nice pre-roll from Nasha. What is it, you ask? It's called Altitude. And so this is going to be one of their... Oh, it's Nigerian haze. Yeah. So they're just trying to make it, and it's from Whitethorn Valley Farms. Great. Which Whitethorn Valley Farms is an excellent. They're from Whitethorn Rose, so they're a great farm to get flower from. So that's awesome. I love when people put their farmers on the actual packaging so we know who we're supporting. Because a lot of brands are buying from cultivators and then they're making, Nasha makes hash. So, and pre-rolls and vapes and things like that. So, all right. How's everyone doing? I forgot to put the title of the sesh on the board. Also, if you want to send me a super chat, as always, well, not as always, since YouTube has demonetized me because I'm in cannabis, the way to send me a super chat is through Venmo at Edibles Club is the best way. Wait, what's going on? Someone's daughter isn't doing well? What's going on? Where's Michelle? Thanks, Cookie. She's going back to school tomorrow. Okay, good. Okay. Got confused. So, oh, we actually do have a super chat already from Patricia. Patty Bishop is saying, witchy woman, Eagles reference. I love it. Take a boop for me. Okay, I'll take a boop for Patty. Let me put on the board the Club Sesh. I'm just going to do it, I think, in green because we're, you know, sometimes I'm feeling artistic. Sometimes I'm not. It takes a lot. You got to go over it. Okay, so we did the club. Like all of these little things take time. And for someone like me, can you tell I need a little break? I've been like going live for a really long time. Let me put Patty on the board. If you are the first to send a super chat, I write your name in cursive in green. And that's only so that the children can't read what we put on the board. If you put it in cursive, they won't understand. So, oh, and I wanted to do a boop for Patty, and I ran out of my. I have their vape, which is really cool from Nasha. Let me show you guys this close up. Oops, not the watch scene. Sorry, you guys. So here's this new. This is new from them, and I've got all sorts of things to dab, but I want to show you this. Dang it. We're going to rip it. There we go. And you can pop these open and take it. I don't know if this is going to be charged. Hopefully it is, but you click it 5 times, and this is their, it'll turn on. It's got good battery, actually. This is their nectarine jelly. So this is actually a live rosin vape, and they're telling you again, like where they're getting it from, who their farmer is here. And then I can press it twice to heat it up, warm it up. And I'm going to go back to the main and take this out. Delicious. Nutritious. A boop on the go. All right. Yeah, it's very nice, Petra. It's very convenient. You can just kind of click it and hit it. So this evening, we're going to talk about witches and herbalism. And I didn't do any research, but that's okay. We're going to learn together. We're going to research together. Put a little bit more of my lipstick on. Feel like it helps with my look. Right? That really sells it. Okay, so we're going to learn about witchcraft, and I don't want to offend anyone because I know that people do like practice it as a religion or like a spirituality or whatever you want to call it. What is that called again? Not pagan, but it'll come to me eventually. Happy birthday, Pete. Happy birthday. It's almost my birthday. Mine's on Saturday. I'm excited to do nothing, honestly. Wiccan. Thank you, Fraggle Rock. That's exactly the word I was looking for. If you are on Instagram, you really should be watching me on YouTube or Twitch because that's where the fun is. It's really a lot like more, you get a better video quality and all of that. But if you want to send me a Venmo, that's the way to send me a super chat. And then I definitely will see your comment. Otherwise, it's a crapshoot if I'm going to see it or not. Okay. I didn't mean to put, I guess I did mean to put mascara under my eyes, but I don't usually wear this much eye makeup. It always makes me feel weird. But anyway, we're leaning into Halloween. Hi, Lauren. How are you doing? Long time. Welcome to the sesh. We're hanging out. We're going to jump into some Wiccan. Let me see. I want to pull something up before we get into the sesh. YouTube. And then I got to put it's time to put these on. Okay. And let's look up witchcraft. How long is I'm looking at for like, okay, I don't want it from a guy. Okay. Let's do. I'm just looking up. I know I usually have videos queued, but you know. Okay, we'll watch this one. It's only 3 minutes long, so let me pull it up first. Boo boo doo. Do I hear you? No. 1 second. So we're going to watch some videos together. Dell speaker. No. Yes. No. Real tech? Okay, let me see if this worked. Yeah. Okay, and let me make sure you guys are going to be able to see. Oh, look it. That's... All right, you're going to have to give me a second because I thought my watch scene was set up, but look it. Oh, there it is. That's my back of my computer, by the way. Where's my browser? Properties. Secret feminist history. Here we go. Let me see. Give me a secondo. Uno momento. Trying to get this right. What did I cut off here? Okay, nothing much. And then let me move my face and then go back. here. All right. Let us watch. See. And make sure your audio is good. Oops, no, can't do that. That's right. Oh, shit. Yeah, motherfucker. Okay, so for fuck's sake. That's not what I was trying to do. I'm screen grabbing, so like if the window gets resized, it resizes it for you, which is fine, but I don't know why it did that like that. Bear with me and OBS while we get this set up. Okay. I give up.
Soleil. I teach a class called Legacy of the Witch at the New School, which delves into the history of the witch through a feminist lens. If you want to talk about representations of witches in popular culture over the past 500 years, you have to really talk about representations of women in popular culture and in culture at large over the past 500 years. So the witch hunts ended around the 1700s, in Europe at least, in America. But of course the fear of witches continued, and at the same time they also morphed into kind of a joke, a horror story, something to scare kids with, to scare young women with, you know, don't walk this path, you may get into, you know, trouble with Satan or something. But it really wasn't until 1893 with Matilda Jocelyn Gage, an American suffragist. She wrote a book called Woman, Church, and State, and
Okay, wait a second. Let me go back a little bit. And then I wanted to put on closed captions. God damn it. That's not what I wanted. Shit. No. Here. English. Okay. Let's do this.
Or something. But it really wasn't until 1893 with Matilda Jocelyn Gage, an American suffragist. She wrote a book called Woman, Church, and State, and it reframed the European witch hunts as actually a misogynistic attempt.
Wait. So let's read this. Matriarchate. The Matriarchate, Woman, Church, and State, Chapter 1. I'm just going to read a couple lines. Woman is told that her present position in society is entirely due to Christianity, that it is superior to that of her sex at any prior age of the world. Church and state both maintaining that she has ever been inferior and dependent, man superior and ruler. These assertions, I don't know why I said it like that, assertions are made the basis of opposition to her demands for exact equality with man in all the relations of life, although they are not true either of the family, the church, or the state. So I'm assuming this is like to do with Christianity and like Eve and original sin and all of those things, right? So woman is bad. We tempted Adam. Although if you read the Bible, God told Adam that the apple was, not that I believe that shit, but if you really want to get into the nitty gritty, God told Adam that the tree of life was off limits. Did he tell Eve that, knowing men? Probably not. So Eve didn't know. Eve was just going about her business. She was doing her job, which was forage. If, you know, obviously this is all make-believe, but let's keep going. This has been used, that story has been used to subjugate women for centuries.
By the church and state to police female sexuality, women's bodies, women's reproductive function, and that is, to my knowledge, the first time the word witch was used in a positive way. And the funny thing about her is that her son-in-law was L. Frank Baum, who wrote The Wonderful Wizard of Oz.
Wow.
And so he was inspired by her writing to conceive of the witch as not only evil, but also good.
Okay, so like look at that. Look at the Wizard of Oz, and you see that now women are allowed to have multitudes, right? They can both be an evil witch. They can both, well, but even within that, right, if you want to further take the story and see how people have interpreted that story and further taken it, you can look at, whatever that one is. What is that called again? What is it? Fucking Wicked. Thank you. You can look at Wicked, right? And then it's trying to say, hey, listen, you're labeling this witch as evil, but is she evil? Is she the evil witch? Or are they, is there more to the story? So, oh shoot, I gotta go really quickly. 1 second, because my UPS guy is here and I have a package I have to give him. Oh, Bonbon, you just chill out. Hey, Herb. How you doing? Good. I know I look ridiculous, but I'm streaming. Baba, you better not. You're not going with him. I can give this to you. Thank you so much. Oh my God, this dog. All right, thank you. Bye. Happy Halloween. Okay. He's so nice. Okay. Anyway. All right, we're back. We're back in action. This my dog, this Bonbon, if you haven't met her before, she doesn't like what I'm doing right now, but she's here and she's saying hi. She'd rather go. He didn't give you a treat, did he? Did he? That's okay. He still said hi to you. Okay. And she, oops. Oh no. Oh, oh boy. Okay, let me fix this. Mama, what are you doing? I'm gonna put this. Oops, I tried to stuff this. Well, I did stuff it. I didn't try. Stuff over here. Oops. I was getting a pillow. That was a lot going on, but you're still here with me. Okay, so Bonbon, witches. Let's keep learning. And I don't know how long this live stream is going to go today because I'm a little tired, and sometimes when I wear wigs, it hurts my ears. Okay, so also I want to make this bigger for Instagram. And then maybe put this browser above the camera. Okay. Keep playing.
Good. So we have these polarities of the good witch and the bad witch, which then goes into, the MGM film and sets the stage for the way we view witches.
What were we talking
forever,
about?
pretty much.
Witches.
I'll get you, my pretty, and your little dog, too.
And then you have, I Married a Witch in the 40s, was sort of a more lighthearted, there's
Sexy
blonde
witch.
witches, they're glamorous. And
Right.
Bell Book and Candle in the late 50s, and then Bewitched in early 60s coincides right when Betty Friedan's putting out The Feminine Mystique. So
Right.
Bewitched is kind of, talking about the plight of the white middle-class housewife, just like Betty Friedan's book. And the women's liberation movement is sort of, bubbling under the surface in culture at the time. And Bewitched is also, I think a few episodes were written by self-professed feminist Barbara Abaddon. So there's some real early feminist leanings in there. And the way she uses magic is like the way early feminist thought could be conceived. Samantha's husband Darren's really annoyed and
Pause. God. Wait a second, you guys. What a day. Mama, you gotta chill, man. You're too much in my grill. I dropped my Puffco, which I do all the time, and then I spilled water on the floor, which I don't want the dog to drink. Sit. Can you sit? gonna cry. I'm gonna cry. Let me put some more water in my Puffco. Yeah. Okay, where's my head? I'm back. Sorry. Oh my god, why does everything have to be so difficult today? Why can't it be a little bit easy? Maybe I pissed off a witch. Okay. Probably. Okay, you don't want to get water. So sometimes if I drop my Puffco, you don't want to get water in the fucking thing. So I'm just gonna, take it out. Because there's different compartments to the Puffco. Anyway, I think it's okay. And then, wigs. And then this. Let's keep learning.
And always frustrated she's using this magical power. It's like something he can't access, he can't control, and it gives her agency. And even though, it's kind of like a fluffy, funny show, there are some like little radical currents in there that I think are picked up and expressed more explicitly in later films in the 70s, 80s, 90s, etc.
You're a big dumbhead.
You're calling me names now.
My favorite representations of the witch are pretty recent, actually. The Witch by Robert Eggers was a fantastic horror film that really
was so good.
Used period lighting and period
Really
text
good.
to inform how people viewed witches at the time. And then The Love Witch by Anna Biller, which
I like
is
that one too.
a just sort of saturated, colorful meditation on sex magic and female sexuality and sort of the world through the female gaze.
What was in that drink you gave me?
Organic berries, vodka, hallucinogenic herbs.
Ooh. Hallucinogenic herbs. What kind of hallucinogenic herbs do you think she's talking about, people? All right, so that was the end of that. Witchcraft. Historyism? No. Would you like to live deliciously? All right, man. You've got one more chance. Oh, wait. I got to do live chat. Sorry, you guys. I'm very strict about my chat. So if I don't like what you have to say, if you're trying to sell something, you're going to go. How long is this? 15 minutes?
Hi, I'm John Green. This is Crash Course European History. So in the first episode of the series, we talked about the significance of the year 1431. And remember, that was the year Joan of Arc was burned to death for heresy and witchcraft because the English were so bewildered that...
They got Joan of Arc for that shit? Are they going to start burning witches? I bet these guys are going to start trying to burn witches. They're going to start calling people witches. Oh, it's from The Witch. That's all. Oh, that's right.
A teenage
My bad.
peasant girl...
Listen, I'm not like one of those people who remembers all the lines from movies. Like maybe Spice World, I could tell you a line, but I don't even think I could do that. So I'm sorry.
could lead the French army to victory that they decided she had to be a witch and a heretic. And it was pretty bewildering that a random peasant girl somehow basically became for a time the most important general in the most important war of the 15th century. That said, just to state the obvious, Joan of Arc was not a witch, but just as she benefited from superstitions and prophecies about mystically powerful women, she was ultimately destroyed by fears of witchcraft and dark magic. For the past 4 episodes, the world has been turned upside down in the century after Joan's trial and execution. The Reformation, commercial and agricultural revolutions, and the Counter-Reformation were each in their own way shaking social and economic and political and, of course, religious structures. Maybe some witches could explain that turmoil? So for most of European history, and indeed for most of world history, people believed in unseen powers that operated across their world and in their individual lives. Objects from nature could be healing or poisonous, working in unknown ways. Like Queen Elizabeth once received a ring that was supposed to protect her from the plague. Most towns had a shaman, or a wise man or woman, or a wizard, or a sorcerer, or some other resident who knew.
I wonder what kind of ring it was. Like, what kind of stone was it? You know what I mean? That she thought, I wonder if it was like an opal or something. Opals are often, that's my birthstone, but opals are often, and tourmaline, but they're often associated with like witchcraft and spirituality and stuff like that. And like superstition. A lot of superstition around opal.
About potions and poultices and charms. And look, Queen Elizabeth never got the plague, so it was easy to conclude that sometimes at least this stuff worked.
No, that's called correlation and causation not being the same thing. Queen Elizabeth didn't get the plague because she was wealthy. And so if you read, you know, if you read the Decameron, you know which like, I don't know, why would you, if you read it, a very, whatever, you've probably seen the movies about the Decameron, Boccaccio, right? And it talks about all these wealthy aristocrats during the plague, they went out into the countryside and they left the cities. It's exactly what happened during COVID. It's also what happened during the fires here. If you're wealthy, you go out to your family's like big estate in the countryside and you let the poor folk deal with the plague in the city. And because when you're in close proximity, right, it's more difficult to avoid the plague. So I'm gonna guess that the Queen of England had some country estates to escape to, that she was able to avoid the plague. And it had nothing to do with a stone that she was, or whatever fucking ring she had on her finger that was mined by some poor, you know, slavery and colonialism in Africa. So save me with that bullshit. Sorry. That's why she didn't get the plague. She was rich, bitch.
As one bishop wrote in 1552, when we be in trouble or sickness or lose anything, we run hither and thither to witches or sorcerers whom we call wise men, seeking aid and comfort at their hands. Other wise men could use eclipses or sunspots or comets or other natural phenomena to predict momentous future events like earthquake, tremors.
Okay, total side note, tangent. Are you guys keeping up with the Prince Andrew stuff? Are you guys keeping up? Are you keeping up? This is what they do, right? This is what the kids do. I don't have any fingernails, but if I did. Scandalous. Scandalous. Question, why is he not just booted? Maybe there's something on the king. Maybe he's got something. But I hope more people come out. It's definitely not part of the culture to speak out about the monarchy. But I'm glad that there are kind of starting to be some consequences. I need to get the book. What is it called? Nobody's. Do you guys know what I'm talking about right now? Do you know what I'm talking about? Nobody's Girl. Virginia Roberts, Jeffrey. R.I.P. A posthumous memoir about Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell. So talking about, you know, anyway, sidetracked. I got a little bit sidetracked by the scandals happening right now. Yes, Nobody's Girl. He lost the last of his titles. Right. But he's still like, He's still living in the, does he still, I know they're kind of talking about the lodge that he's in. And by lodge, it's like a 30-bedroom estate. Because he paid, what was it called? A peppercorn. I've never heard this expression before. It was actually I love learning kind of new expressions, but it was called a peppercorn rent. Yeah, peppercorn lease, which means that you pay kind of like a fee in the beginning you pay a fee per year, and it's like a nominal, it's like a token rent. And so, but he did put in some money to like revamp the place, but he'll get that money back if he ever, when the lease is up. But he signed like a 75-year lease on this place back in like 2009 or something like that. Anyway, I'm deep in that shit because I'm like, I want to see some people have some consequences, okay? Because, he was trafficking girls out of, like, it sounds like he was trafficking out of the palace even, so, or out of this lodge that he has access to. Anyway, hi Kenneth, my hair is so green because it's Halloween and we're looking into witchcraft. Royal Lodge should be given back to the king. Royal Lodge should be given back to the people, if you ask me. But that's just me. I'm not a monarchist. I'm also not from the UK. So I know that there's a whole history and a different understanding. I'm American. So you know me. We're American. I'm a real American. I'm not a fake American, because only fake Americans would put up with the shit that's happening right now. So that's how I see it. Maybe they should call themselves Argentinians, but I'm a real American. And so I don't like kings and I don't like monarchies and I don't stand for that shit. So anyway, sorry. And we're talking about witches. There's no way we're not going to get into a little bit, just a little bit. They're witches.
In 1648, for instance, were said to foretell the murder of the Sultan 2 months later. All these shamans and special healers and fortune tellers were widely depicted in the many books now streaming from the printing press, with stories that often strayed from reality. The reading public seemed to revel in tales of witches, their special witches' rites, their antics and adventures, their sexual perversions, and their attacks on and corruption of the innocent. Jean Baudin was a famed and influential jurist who wrote about sovereignty, that is, the nature of state power and authority, in this age of new monarchy and governmental consolidation. He also famously wrote about witches and demonology in the vernacular so that a large group would have access to his pieces. And I think it's important to note Baudin because his work underscores that in the 16th and 17th centuries, high-minded political theory of government and the everyday world of witches coexisted. I think that can be one of the great empathy barriers in history. It can be really hard for some of us to imagine a world where it was almost universally assumed that the hand of God and the hand of the devil were constantly shaping events, both large and small. But one of the discomforting things about humanity is the role luck or fate or however you consider.
Okay, and that's like what we're really going further into in the United States, right? In the United States, we have this thing called separation of church and state. And why is that important? Because despite what the fake Americans will tell you, we actually are not a Christian nation. The founders of this country were not Christian, and that was not what the MO was when they founded the United States. So, and not what the Constitution says. It's not American to impose your religious beliefs on others, right? So, is the Conservative Party Christian? Now, that is also up to debate to me as someone who grew up in in a born-again Christian family. I was raised with different understanding of the teachings of Jesus, and not that I subscribe to that religion or any religion, but I do know what it says, and it has nothing to do with what I see happening and also like the Bible is just like a mess to begin with. So, but if we're going to look at it, it's not what we're teaching. That's not what this party is doing, right? It's WWJD, probably not round up families and deport them and put people into alligator Alcatraz and have over 1,000 people missing. So I don't think that is really, but the key here is none of this should matter because we should have separation of church and state because we don't live in the fucking medieval times. I know it's like there's this fantasy of going back in time and everything is better in the past. And if we go back to when things were simple and life is not simple. Humanity is not simple. Just because, like there are wonderful things we can learn from history and from our ancestors, and even just looking at witchcraft and how women have been treated and how these superstitions and whatever religion has been used to control and women were burned because of this shit, because of make-believe, okay? Made up stories, killed people. And then anyway, it's horrible.
It plays in our lives, and we all have a desire for life to be a story that makes sense. Saying everything happens for a reason is one way of doing that. Saying witches did it is another. In some ways, history itself is an attempt to tell a story that makes sense. We're trying to find narratives amid an endlessly complicated web of forces and choices and luck. So I hope thinking about that can help you empathize a bit, but back to witches. Art is another place we see a lot of witchcraft. Art. In grand Baroque paintings, you can find devils and serpents.
So that's Baroque. It almost looks surrealist, like a De Chirico. So creepy, that demon. And also this kind of thing, like showing children this kind of shit and telling kids that there's demons and monsters, that if you do something wrong, you have a bad thought that this horrible monster is going to come and get you. That is abusive. That is not good for a kid's brain to think about that. So, and to have terrible stories like that. So.
And old hags and other signs of evil filtering across society. Like in Peter Paul Rubens' massive painting Madonna on the Crescent Moon, featured at the altar of the Cathedral of Freising, the entire left third displays devils and demons and the serpent of sin for parishioners, and Council of the Gods, one of Rubens' celebratory works on the life of Marie de' Medici, depicts a witch-like figure at the extreme right. And it's important to note that Rubens was working from images that had already been around for a long time, in the form of black and white engravings of the devil and witches in broadsheets and books. So we know ideas about witches were plentiful, but where did they actually originate? Well, the Bible doesn't say much about them, though there is this prominent statement in Exodus 22:18, "Thou shalt not suffer a witch to live."
Okay, so like you can see how something like that can be used. That's why separation of church and state, baby. Like, no. So once you kind of go down that road, and of course I don't believe in a slippery slope fallacy, but still, with separation of church and state, there has to be a hard boundary there. There should not be people speaking in tongues and putting their hands up in the air in any government building. That is totally insane. That happened in Arizona. So I'm just gonna say, like, let's keep an eye out for the witch trials that are gonna probably be happening, with how I see the certain people talking, definitely the way that they talk about the left and anyway.
European popular culture, however, drew on lots of pagan mythology, full of wily sorceresses and enchantresses using love potions and charms to work their magic. And people saw woodcuts of witches in flight, or they heard about magicians on flying coats or carpets, or they went to healers.
And that's something I want to look into too, because actually they say, so the brooms that witches flew on or something, I guess it was like something sexual to it, like herbs. We're going to look into that next because there's something to that.
And unexpectedly died. But again, we look for stories that make sense, and it makes sense that a healer with their medicinal potions that work in mysterious ways might also...
CJ, yeah, I bet. I've only really seen surrealist paintings. I have seen them in some museums, but mainly like on a screen, which is not the same as seeing it in person, right? Because you have a different impact, like standing in front of a Rothko, looking at that on a screen versus standing in front of it in person. You can't really describe the feeling that you get from just like kind of Kant calls it surrealism, the surreal of art, this kind of overwhelming feeling of awe, like wow. Anyway, I'd love to go see some more surrealist. I'm not a huge surrealism fan because it's like it's a hard genre of art. I definitely am not a Dali fan. Maybe Magritte. Definitely De Chirico. De Chirico I'm a fan of because De Chirico was like next level. There was like more to it. I feel like De Chirico actually felt like nightmares I might have. There was like an emptiness to it, whereas Dali felt like he was trying to make it a dream. So, shut up. Bye. Don't put that, or I'm gonna block you, okay?
Also have access to poisonous or other dangerous potions. So there were a few lines from the Bible, a growing collection of scary...
Hey, Kenneth, you can either send me, here's how it's going to go down. You've got 10 minutes to send me a Venmo super chat for over $100, or I'm going to kick you out of the chat. Okay? Over $100. Preferably over $500 if we're really being for real. Because I see what people send to Nick Fuentes, and I know you motherfuckers have some money, especially you bros trying to come in here and tell me you could buy me a Cobra. Fucking send me a super chat for $500. Prove it. Prove it, big dick swinger. Prove it. Otherwise, you got beep, 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 beep. I'm a bitch. Don't try me.
Stories through the Middle Ages, and then came Heinrich Kramer's witch's hammer, or Malleus Maleficarum, in 1487. Kramer was a Dominican monk whose book became amazingly popular. Like, for over a century, it was the second best-selling book in Europe behind only...
Weird. I don't care what it's from. No one knows what the fuck you're talking about.
The Bible. And the book argues that Satan, due to the fact that the apocalypse is coming, has, quote, caused a certain unusual heretical perversity to grow up in the land of the Lord, a heresy, I say, of sorceresses, since it is to be designated by the particular gender of which he is known to have power. The book goes on to describe in detail the many evils of these mostly female practitioners of witchcraft and to advocate for all-out war.
Buy 100 cookbooks is damn right. That's right, motherfucker.
Or against them. Now, these days, Kramer's book reads like aggressively misogynistic fantasy fiction. He writes that women are, quote, defective in all the powers of both soul and body, and claims that witches were, among many other things, practicing cannibalism and causing male impotence. Because, of course, if you have magical powers, that's how you're going to use them. But at the time, Witch's Hammer was tremendously influential. The book was first approved, then disapproved by religious authorities, but as Europeans engaged with pagan practices, Kramer's Witchcraft Manifesto gave them a new context. Amid all the religious and economic and social challenges of these centuries, the hunt for witches accelerated and eventually became lethal. It's really important to understand that the idea of witchcraft felt to many Christians in the 16th century like a real threat. Did the center of the world just open? Is there a black cat in there? Oh, it must be time for a PSA. Hi, I'm John Green. This is not an evil cat. It's just a regular nice cat that happens to have one color of fur. Don't be mean to these cats. These are great cats. This one happens to be fake because Stan said I couldn't put a real cat inside the globe.
So actually on Halloween, if you have a black cat, you should keep your cat indoors. Just a little PSA. I'm sure you already know if you have a black cat. But if you're new to having a black cat, keep your cat indoors on Halloween, because they sometimes people do weird shit with them. So don't leave your kitty out there.
Stan. But that's not the point. The point is that this cat is not bad luck. It is not involved in witchcraft. It is a great cat, or it would have been a great cat if Stan had let me use a real cat. So beginning in 1560, in villages and cities across Europe, a stream of supposedly demonic incidents took place and a raft of persecutions followed. Between 1560 and 1800, between 50,000 and 100,000 people were tried for witchcraft in the...
Look at that, okay? That's what we're talking about. This is what can happen when you let this kind of hysteria, this religious hysteria, take over. This is what happens. Okay? So let's stay vigilant. And no.
in the European world. Unlike Joan of...
That's not the country my grandfather fought for. Okay? It's just not.
Arc, most purported witches had little to do with the grand and tumultuous events of those years. Like Joan, the vast majority, approximately 80%, were women, and like Joan, many were executed. But they were often older women. Almost all the works of demonology during these years were published in German or in Latin with a German publisher. The Holy Roman Empire, therefore, was one major center of the hunt for witches. In 1564, judges for the town council of Augsburg, a city in the south of the German Empire, questioned the healer Anna Megeler when a boy she had cared for died of a wound. And while being intensely grilled, Megeler said that...
So also if you watch, what's it called? Is it Outlander? Yeah, Outlander. So that's like, she's a healer. If you know the story, she gets accused of witchcraft because she's a healer. So often women were these herbalism, they would be healing through herbs and other medicine. But with that there would be this risk that you're going to get labeled a witch. So it's just like, anyway, poor women. And there's more to it, right? There's even more to it. Had a black cat from California named Gus.
She had taught secret knowledge to the mighty Anton Fugger, who was headquartered in Augsburg. Fugger was financier to the Habsburgs, among others, and Megeler said her supernatural knowledge had helped him prosper in finance and that...
Wah, wah. All right, Kenneth. So you did not send me a super chat, so we know what that means, right, fam? Bye, Kenny. Have a good one. Or don't.
He, in turn, had taught her about crystal ball gazing. The judges then determined that it would create complications should they proceed further with the inquiry, and her life was spared. But many women were executed after being tortured into confessing, and Witch's Hammer strenuously argued that torture was an appropriate interrogation technique for potential witches. Let's go to the thought bubble. In around 1624, for instance, the slave and healer Paula de Aguiluz was tried in Spanish Cuba for witchcraft. It was reported that she had killed a child by sucking on her navel. She had also used other skills to...
What? Sucking on her navel. Well, the belly button actually has a lot of, like, healing stuff. I don't, I'm not a medical expert or anything like that, but it's interesting. Your belly button, like you could put poultices in your belly button.
To devise a potion to help
Thanks,
cure her
Bibly.
master's illness. Simultaneously,
If you would like to support this stream, you can send me a Venmo to @Edibles Club to say thank you and to just support it. I know it's a little weird. I don't know what this belly button sucking thing is, but okay. I'm not going to dye my hair green, but thanks.
Paula de Aguiluz knew the Lord's Prayer and 10 Commandments, went regularly to Sunday Mass, and faithfully made her confession, even as she gained popularity for her shamanistic healing of people. The lines between Christianity and paganism have never been bright or clear. The inquisitors in her first hearing condemned her to 200 lashes and ordered her to perform charitable work. In her third hearing, she fully confessed to being in league with the devil and a witch, even as she continued.
Okay, but they were probably torturing her. So it doesn't count. It was probably confession over torture, after torture. I gotcha going to support one of those nonprofits that get people convicted of cannabis out of jail. Hope you'll still honor that. Yeah, if you send me and then you have to email me your address. I'll send you. What was she was being harmed? Bibly, what are you talking about? Oh, we were talking about the trial and like her confessing to witchcraft because she was being tortured. Yeah. Email me info@vanessalaverato.com, your receipt to the Last Prisoners Project.org. They have donations. And I'll send you a cookbook, signed cookbook. That goes out to anybody. Let's say at least a $10 donation, please. Can you be generous? Really should be more than that because the book's retail value is $32.50. So I'd say like if you can maybe like do the retail value of the book would be nice. And then I'm spending $10 on shipping. But if you can't, of course, I understand if like financially you can't. But email me the receipt. Anyway.
To frame the use of her African healing knowledge as a Christian act. By that time, she had been convicted and ordered to be sent to government officials for execution in a move that was canceled only because she had popular support. But most women accused of witchcraft didn't have the public on their side.
Yo,
famously, 19...
You too, man. I'm gonna give you a 5-minute timeout. You can send me a Venmo as well. Okay? So that's awesome. Thanks so much, Bibly. I think that's great. What if I already bought the book several times? What do you want, man? Did I send you you want a signed copy? Is that what you're saying? Tell me. I just wanted people to donate to help get people out of prison for cannabis because I think it's bullshit that people are in prison for cannabis. And there are organizations that help to get people out of prison for cannabis. And I think it's great. There's lawyers, they help them. A lot of it is just bureaucracy and being targeted, obviously, by the police and like people going to fucking prison for a joint, depending on where you live and depending on the color of your skin. So, there are organizations. I'm sitting here smoking weed. I live in California. I'm so fortunate. I'm so lucky. I'm lucky for a lot of reasons, right? Got a lot of privileges that I'm not going to list them because that just feels weird. But I'm aware, and so happy to send out copies of my book. I've got some books. Can sign them, dedicate them to you. Donate to Last Prisoner Project, or if there's an organization that you prefer for whatever reason, as long as the mission is to help get people out of prison for cannabis, because what the heck, you know? Not cool that people's lives, if you like think about just how precious, like we don't have, life is pretty short. The older you get, the more you realize, obviously I'm turning 39, so I feel like whenever my birthday is about to happen, I always get like get a little depressed. I get a little like just thinking about life and existential, like what's the point of it all? And to think that people are spending like even a year of their lives in prison for a plant is, even a day, like fuck that, is unacceptable. And we know why it happens. If you don't, we can talk about that and how it's been used to incarcerate certain demographics of people, certain races of people, and then use their labor to profit, right? The prison system does that. So you can see that with firefighters, even in California, and I think they're starting to get some more rights. Anyway, we're getting very sidetracked. We could go into whether or not prisons are actually rehabilitating or are they just like life destroying. So anyway, we should do that another time. But if today we're talking about witches. But if you want to get a signed copy of my book, send me a receipt to one of those nonprofits helping to battle the war on drugs and just the overall racism of how people have used cannabis to just be fucking assholes. So let's do what we can, and I'll do what I can, which is I'm happy to send books out and sign them to you, dedicate them to you. It's a cool cookbook. I'm really proud of it. And if it can be used to help people, then that makes me even happier. So thanks for being here.
Convicted witches were hanged in the English colony of Salem, Massachusetts, having initially been accused by young girls of causing their, quote, fit.
Okay, so like what did I say earlier? I said often women will have, we are raised with this, like, we're told that other women are competition. We're told that they are a threat, you know, and that we are the lesser sex. And so when you are put in that position because of those dynamics, right, the hierarchy, gender hierarchies, if you have an opportunity to like throw other women under the bus in order to step on them to get ahead, often women will do that. So these young girls, because they don't really have too much, like when you're younger, you also like don't really, that's why older men, like older creepy men, like younger women, substantially younger women, because they're more impressionable. So they don't, like, they're not aware of how fucked up everything is. They're still on the Kool-Aid, right? And so that's why the witches were older women. Because older women, what my auntie said is men make witches and bitches out of women. That's what my auntie says. And so at a certain point, it's like you're just like fed up with it. You're like, this is some fucking bullshit. I don't know if anyone saw that video of the like sports news broadcaster at a game, and all of these young guys are coming in front of the camera and like making faces in front of the camera and screaming, and she's just standing there smiling, and she's just like, you know, waiting for them to stop being, you know, jerks. And so anyway, I got sidetracked again. Whatever. Jengar, what are you talking about? Do you do these every Wednesday? This is the second week in a row. Happy to find you again. Yes, I go live every Wednesday at 4:20 p.m. and I go and I go live every Saturday, but this Saturday is my birthday, so I'm not going live this Saturday because I'm just gonna take it off. I need a little break. We've been going live pretty consistently for the last couple, I'd say like definitely over a year, right? I don't know. I'd have to look at all my live streams, but I've been going live pretty consistently for a while. Anyway.
Others died of torture and imprisonment in the Americas, but the majority of trials and executions took place in Europe, where historians believe tens of thousands of women were executed for witchcraft in the 16th and 17th centuries. Thanks, Thought Bubble. So allying...
I swear, they better not start burning women for witchcraft, because... Am I being alarmist?
A nurse who took care of mothers and children in the postpartum period was a common target for the accusation of witchcraft because she dealt with especially vulnerable people. Moms who had just given birth and their newborn infants had extremely high mortality rates. The accused were also often older women, those who had already gone through menopause and who were sometimes marginalized because they could no longer give birth to new community members. Many were also widowed.
But also, so they had... Okay, so listen to this. Also, listen to this. They also, so when women were widowed, what would the men leave them? Property, right? So that's the only way that women could have property and hold property was if their husbands were gone. So these women, as soon as they had, these older women, as soon as they had a little bit of independence, and this is what I want women, it frustrates me when I see how women vote. We should be voting, it should be damning how we vote. We should not, there shouldn't, any woman who votes, in my opinion, who votes for Republicans is a gender traitor, in my opinion. You're a gender traitor. You're letting women bleed out in the South. You're letting people die of preventable complications with things like what we're talking about right now, giving birth, which is a very dangerous thing. You're letting men dictate what happens to women's bodies. I don't give a shit if you agree or disagree with abortion. The government and these men should get their dirty fingers off of our bodies and off of our rights. So, and this is what I'm talking about. This is why we're talking about witches, because we need to look at history and we need to remember how they treat women, because this is what they are going to continue to keep doing. If we forget what our power is in our vote. Our power is in our numbers. Okay? You remember that.
Perhaps
Don't be complacent.
isolated and without a strong network of support. Once a person was seen as a viable suspect, she was turned over for torture, which was usually carried out by the local hangman, who would also hang the suspect if she were ultimately found guilty. The suspect was stripped of clothing and shaved of bodily hair so that the torturer could minutely examine the body for all the diabolical signs that...
And disgusting. Just an excuse to get their disgusting, grubby hands all over these poor women. To embarrass them because it's probably their kink, probably because their mother did something to them. Ugh. Can you imagine? Just imagine the kind of fucked up trauma the men had back, all of them, all of these people, poor people had back then. So
that had come down in lore and then been codified.
CJ, lots of power in how you spend your money. Definitely. 1,000%. Lots of power in how you spend your money and how you spend your time.
Various manuals and books of demonology, warts, moles, skin tags, hardened nipples, sagging...
What's up, cannabis cowboy? Sagging breasts, what the fuck, I hope women were doing their damn push-ups. See, this is why, to the extreme that women are not allowed to age. This is kind of like a type of, it feels like it's a type of purging as a species. Like, oh, these ones of us are no longer viable, right? Because women are just breeding machines. And so, like, let's get rid of them and take their resources. Anyway.
Breasts and any purportedly diabolical deformations were seen as important evidence. And I just want to note that these are all things that happen to human bodies naturally over time, so everyone who was older and female could be construed as a witch. The hangman then would apply torture at the direction of a council of examiners. Then as now, many tortured people would make false confessions, which often led to execution. The widespread torture and execution are horrifying, and they speak to how profoundly afraid people were of the devil and his influence. In 1587, the story of Faust, a scholar who sells his soul to the devil, was first published. And
thank you. 1587, the story of Faust, a scholar who sells his soul to the devil, was first published. Yeah. And like, you gotta think, just like religion, there was so much, it was in everything. And that is why, I believe, why the founders wanted to keep it separate here. And I think people are so upset about the White House and the East Wing being torn down, or even just the outside of it being torn down, right? All of that's original to Roosevelt. Is because of what it means, the symbolism of it for our country. So anyway.
Its themes were relevant to popular and high culture, because if a scholar would sell his soul to the devil, who could be immune? It was common knowledge that the devil was a trickster and a supreme illusionist cloaked in all kinds of magic that was difficult to detect or to separate from the normal good magic of the unseen world. So in towns and cities, councils examined suspects often over a period of years, with interrogations interspersed with torture and then deliberations. They would examine a suspect's words and the stories that she told and the contradictions within those stories.
Can you imagine the desperation and just like the panic and just the feeling of helplessness that these women had during these trials, and having these men is something that I think a lot of women have experienced in their lives. Just a lot of people in general. Let's say a lot of non-cis men, and yeah, religion gonna fuck up society. That's right. Yeah. Oh my God, the rose garden. Plants have so much. They just cut down a tree too. There's just no kind of. If any other president did this shit, if Obama like bulldozed the East Wing, do you know what they would do? They would have done? Heads would have been rolling.
Stories, they tried to discern who was in league with the devil and who was simply mentally disturbed or a help.
Yes, CJ, I know. They're cutting everything. Medicaid, SNAP benefits, and while they're cutting that, they're building a ballroom. So it's feeling very let them eat cake to me.
Helpful healer, or, a victim of torture. And these councils of notable men always had the last word, leading some historians to believe that in times of difficulty and disorder, like the 16th and 17th centuries, men asserted control. Other historians point to the concentrated focus on women and conclude that the accused were the most vulnerable and often the most disrespected in society. Moreover, women such as lying-in nurses dealt with the most intimate matters of human existence, especially new life, which was then fraught with danger. I mean, around half of all infants died before their 5th birthday, many in the first few days of life, and childbirth was among.
I wonder why they were dying. Also, this is, the Qatar Basin, the Midwest. You know what that's about. Well, he just got his jet, and then they're going to help. Let's not get into it.
The greatest threats to women's lives. Finally, others point out that
I don't
women
know.
were the main
Do you think they're just not paying attention, or do they just like make up excuses for all of it? You know what I mean? Like, as far as sending that much money to Argentina, as far as like Qatar and their base in Idaho, the cutting Medicaid, cutting SNAP, not releasing the Epstein files, and guaranteed when they do release those files, if they ever do, they're going to be so redacted, it's not going to say anything. And mark my words, he is going to pardon Ghislaine. Funny how he never mispronounces her name. Interesting. Yeah, it's 20 billion, and then he's raising like another 20 billion like privately to go to them. So 20 billion of our tax dollars, 20 billion of us give just straight up what could have funded the cancer research that the trust fund kid from South Africa to I don't get it. Why are they electing trust fund kids? Like, what? Like, I'd understand if he was like a working class guy. I'd get it. But I don't get, like, he inherited so much money and he still went bankrupt. It should be make Trump rich again. That should be the slogan.
victims because religious scripture referred to the female body as the most impure and most vulnerable to evil. Being seen as the most unclean, they were also seen as the most like the devil, tricksters, and agents of disorder. The witch's hammer makes this comparison explicit many, many times. But no matter what conclusions you draw, it's important to understand that sexism isn't just like bad in the abstract. It is a system of power that oppresses people, and in these cases, many times kills them. Between 1700 and 1750, the persecution of witches diminished as the tide started to turn against the practice. French courts ordered the arrest of witch hunters and the release of suspected witches. In 1682, a French royal decree treated witchcraft as a fraud. Perhaps the state had taken seriously Michel de Montaigne's pronouncement from a century earlier, almost unique at the time, by the way. It is taking one's conjectures rather seriously to roast someone alive for them.
That's exactly right. And I feel that way about everything. I feel that way about, any kind of people dying about this stuff. You're willing to take someone out for your beliefs? Really? It's that important to you that what you believe, other people believe it. I get it. I get angry when people don't agree with me, but like as far as like, hey, if someone's like, I'm a Christian, I'm not going to sit there and try and like, you what? I tell you what I think, how I feel about it. It's not for me, but I'm not going to sit there and tell you, like, I'm not going to proselytize to you about what I think, right? So I don't really get it. Like, why? And this is what that guy is saying. He's like, you guys are really willing to burn women? Like, what a horrible, just violent way to kill someone, anybody, to burn them. Just very telling of what the goal was for the witch trials and for, witch hunts, was how these women who now all of a sudden have this independence and intelligence and sway and influence in community and society, right? Because they're looked to as the healer, as the one you go to if you need help. That's intimidating. And then just you can see how with certain younger women, if you really look at, it's funny, you can see it with the GOP and like these young women who get into like right-wing politics, and it's just like, you're just like the little girls who were reporting the older lady witches and saying that they're, oh, they're witches, because they don't get it. They'll burn you at the stake too. They'll burn you too. That's what I don't get. Do you think you're special? You're not. They hate you too. That's what I don't get. When women vote against their own interests, when anybody, poor people vote against their own interests, they don't like you. They don't like you. They think you're stupid. And he's taking advantage of people. That's what he does. He's a grifter. He's a con man. These people are con artists. They all got these nice little bags from the ballroom party with his signature on it. So I need to stop talking. I'm sorry.
1700 people had a more positive view of the divine and had relaxed their view that the devil's hand was at work in everyday life or in natural disasters. Although some religious authorities still saw misfortune as the work of the devil, others had a better understanding that there were scientific laws behind the operations of nature. But more than that, the worst of the multifaceted religious and political turmoil was over, and questions of political order seemed less menacing. We'll discuss how those new understandings came about in the next few episodes. Until then, thanks for watching. If you're enjoying...
Thanks so much for sharing that with us. I just want to see if there's not like a video for this. Herbs history. Let's see what this is like.
Hey everyone, so it's Hearth and welcome back to my channel.
1 second.
So today's video is going to be all about the witch's broom, the history.
Okay, so 1 second, you guys. Oops, my Instagram, I guess it pauses after an hour. Now, let me go back to the main sesh real quick. It didn't used to do that, so I'm just going to pull this out and... Oh, wait, no, is it still live? It's still live. Cool. You guys are still there, Instagram? Hi. How's it going? Or maybe it's not live. I don't think so. I'm going to end it, the live there. Sorry. And then I'm going to go live again there because I want to. And let's see. It's complicated, the vertical thing for Instagram. I have to go here, live video, paste, public, next, copy. Oops. Go to the vertical, turn that off. Output settings. I'm actually quite savvy. All right, we're going to go live again on Instagram. Cut us off. Can't have that. It should. There we go. And we're back. Instagram. If you want to join the sesh, head on over to YouTube. That really is the best place to be. Okay, so let's go back to our watch sesh. We're learning about witches because it's a spooky season.
Of it and what part it plays in modern day witchcraft. So of all the tools that come to mind when you think of witchcraft, there are a few that really stand out. The pointed hat, the cloak, the chalice, the cauldron, the wand, and also the broomstick. Now, broomsticks have made their way into history, whether that be from mythology, actual history, TV shows, movies, or most recently in the Harry...
Hi, Mimi in Vegas.
Potter franchise. Now, this question was asked to me by a wonderful subscriber, so I decided that the Halloween season was the perfect time to talk about broomsticks and whether witches actually use them in the modern day. So what actually is a broomstick? Now, I know that there are lots of stories and lots of images online of witches riding a broomstick across the sky, but actually that's not what broomsticks are used for, and that's never been what broomsticks are used for. This is actually a giant misunderstanding that I'm going to go into a little bit more in depth later on in the video.
See?
So in modern day practices, a broomstick is actually more
Okay, this video is 16 minutes, which isn't that bad.
commonly referred to as a besom. But what is a broomstick? Well, I have a couple of versions to show you, but this one is much smaller than the one that's behind me, so it's much easier to show you what a besom or broomstick actually is. So a broomstick is actually a really simple concept. It is a bundle of twigs that are bound to a long stave of wood. Now, the type of wood that has been used in broomsticks and besoms really does vary over the centuries. They were originally called broomsticks because the woody fibrous plant that was used for the twigs was actually called broom. And broom is a woody fibrous plant that still grows today, and it's no longer frequently used to make besoms, but that's what broomsticks were originally made of. They were a bundle of broom twigs attached to a stick, a broom stick. Kind of nice actually, isn't it? Nowadays we call them besoms. Besoms can actually be
What the hell is it's not bears, the what's a broom? Let me look up. Broom plant. Broom, a flowering shrub from the pea family known as its yellow brooms, Scottish brooms. Let me see, cystisus. I think this is it. The Cystius scoparius? Scotch broom. Is that what they're talking about? It's good. And then maybe we can look up. I'm looking up. Broomstick history. Let's see. In the history of the Cytisus scoparius, broomstick dates back to its native use in Europe for brooms, with its characteristic yellow flowers being a symbol of Scotland, introduced to North America in the 1800s. It was initially planted as an ornamental in gardens. Okay, so that's what they would do. I'm not yapping. Oh wait, no, you're saying he's yapping.
Be found in lots and lots of different types of woods and also lots of different kinds of material. Quite frequently now you find ash, birch and willow broomsticks or besoms to be really, really popular. But you can also find mini broomsticks and besoms like this that are made of sage. You can also find them made with lavender, with sage bundles. You can also find them in things like
Okay, so we could make a broomstick out of weed, is what she's trying to say.
corn or grass, depending on where you live. So besoms now are very, very versatile, and they can be as plain and boring or as detailed and ornate as you like. This is one of my other besoms. I actually have 3.
Besoms.
I have the little ones. I also have a very, very intricate and ornate one, and I have a very plain one. So this is my most intricate besom. As you can see, it is very beautiful and very detailed.
Okay, besom is Dutch for broom. So she's just using the Dutch word for broom.
The base is a beautiful rose gold. It has a beautiful charm on the front, and it has a twine wood handle going all the way up. Now this is the statement piece that I have in my front room. So in my videos where I'm sitting on the sofa, you can actually see this besom hidden in the background. But as you can see, besoms can really be as plain and as boring or as beautiful or ornate as you really like. There is really no restriction on what the look of your besom has to be.
Okay.
So why were broomsticks or besoms considered to be the objects that witches flew across the sky with? Now, this
Tell
one is a
us.
little difficult to answer, and it's because the history of the besom or the broomstick is rooted in a lot of folklore and a lot of mythology. Now, it was common in medieval times for broomsticks to be found in homes, and that's because that's all they had to sweep the floors. It is what they used in their day-to-day lives, and they were frequently used solely by women. It is believed that they would see witches flying over hedgerows on broomsticks, and witches themselves actually gave accounts of themselves flying on broomsticks. There are accounts of this countless times through history. So why did people believe that witches flew on broomsticks, considering that people can't fly on broomsticks? Levitation and flight simply isn't possible with or without magic.
No way.
So why did people believe that you could fly on a simple broomstick? And the answer to this is a lot of psychedelic drugs.
There you go.
Now, you may laugh at this, but
There we go. That's what we're here for.
honestly, this is what the main root of all of these mythologies surrounding the flying of broomsticks actually comes down to. There are items in witchcraft and in many religious ceremonies known as flying ointments. So flying ointments have actually been used for hundreds of years. They contain a concoction of items that can help you with trance work and astral projection. Now, that being said, I wouldn't suggest anyone to go out and try flying ointments. They can be very dangerous. Even the modern ones can be very difficult to work with. So I wouldn't recommend anyone use them themselves. Instead, try astral projection and trance work the traditional way.
Okay.
But people did, once upon a time, very frequently use flying ointments. Now, flying ointments back in the day contained a lot of very toxic ingredients, including deadly nightshade and other members of these families of plants. And they were used to create a psychedelic trip that would force you into astral projection. Now, it is believed that these flying ointments were actually applied to the body with the besom itself. So that immediately ties the besom into these flying trips.
But maybe it was kind of like, have you ever heard about the sauna when you're like Eastern European saunas, right? So you take the you like smack yourself with it. So I'm gonna let her keep talking because she's probably about to tell us. But maybe they take the besom and they smack themselves with these psychedelic plant drugs on it, and then it's in the skin and cuts through cuts to the bloodstream with, I don't fucking know.
And the flying ointments that were traditionally used. Now, alongside this, there are many accounts of both witnesses and practitioners of witchcraft saying that they were flying over hedgerows and flying through the fields on broomsticks. Now, flying isn't exactly what I would call it. I would call it leaping like a crazy person.
Right.
But people's definition of flying certainly changes over the years.
They probably felt like they were flying.
Instead, what would happen is that in order to project or leave the physical body with astral projection, witches using flying ointments would typically jump around with a broomstick to be hedge jumping, physically leaving the floor in an attempt to allow their spiritual being to leave their body. They would also do this in fertility and harvest rituals, almost teaching or training the crops how to grow upwards by showing themselves jumping on bristles high into the air. So there's a lot of different versions of how broomsticks ended up part of this flying mythology, but those are just a few, and the few main ones that I wanted to touch on. Now, that being said, I'm going to further disclose this. Broomsticks cannot let you fly. I do get a lot of people asking me this, often beginners and very young beginners.
Okay, so she's like she's a witch. And or whatever the correct title is, but she's practicing, and she's saying, like, when people first come to her to be like, hey, I want to look into witchcraft or Wiccan or Wicca, they are like, can I fly on a broomstick? And she has to say to them, no, because people might try and do it and like jump out their window on a broomstick thinking they can fly.
Beginners wanting to know whether they can actually fly like Harry Potter. Broomsticks are not designed to help you fly. That is not what they are used for. Instead, they have lots of very useful purposes that I'm going to touch on. But broomsticks and their connection to flight and flying witches is mainly through hedge jumping and hedge work, which is astral projection. And that's mainly what they're connected to. It's the flight of the spirit out of the body using the besom or broomstick as a means of giving flight to the physical form through jumping, leaping, and other flying ointment additions. So, what are besoms actually used for in the modern age? Now, most people have a vacuum cleaner. We don't need to sweep the floors physically with a broomstick. So, besoms and broomsticks don't have a regular place in our homes. You often don't find a normal person with a broomstick in their house. You mainly only find Wiccans and practitioners of witchcraft with them. So what are they actually used for? So broomsticks are used for a huge range of different things. Everything from protection to spirit work to working with doorways and openings into the spirit worlds, and also for sweeping out negativity. And
Okay, so that's what I've heard is like you can like sweep out, but also I've heard on New Year's you don't want to, there's like certain times of the year or New Year's Day you don't want to sweep, and there's all these rules. I might have to end this stream early too because I'm getting hair in my eye. That's never a good thing.
that is the main use of broomsticks. It is the sweeping of negativity out of the house. So a broomstick is considered to be a physical cleanser. It physically sweeps the energy out of a space, whereas sage, a smoke cleanser, or incense, or water sprinkled around doesn't physically remove it, it spiritually removes any negativity out of the space. Whereas a besom or broomstick is designed to physically sweep negative energy and excess energy out of a space. Now that being said, a traditional broomstick in the sense of a religious tool is not actually meant to physically sweep across the floor. Instead, you would sweep about 1 inch or 2 inches off the surface that you're trying to cleanse, or out of the area you're trying to cleanse, and you would sweep away that negative energy. Now, there is a very traditional way of doing this, and that is you start top to bottom, back to front, and it allows you to sweep that energy through the entire house and out. Generally, during festivals and seasons like Imbolc, the spring clean is often done. And traditionally within witchcraft, this is the time when you would actually spiritually clean the home with a besom. You would sweep from the back upstairs of a property, downstairs, and then from the back of the property out towards the front. And this is the physical cleansing of the space.
Clearing it
Now,
out.
don't worry if you don't have a humongous besom like I do. You can do this on an altar. If you use a small besom like this, you can sweep the negativity off an altar. Now, you can do this
Now, like, listen, I don't subscribe to this kind of stuff, right? Like, I burn Palo Santo and white sage because it cleans the air. It makes it smells fresh in here. I don't like the negativity and all that jazz. Sorry, that's not my. It's not my thing. If it's your thing, cool. It's not my thing.
left to right. I've also seen people do it from the back of the altar to the front of the altar, depending on which way round you are doing them. So you're actually sweeping out of the altar, off your sacred space, from the left of your altar to the right of your altar, from back to front. So you actually sweep it all away. And that's a really great way of using besoms. But how often do you cleanse physically? I know many people cleanse with sage or with incense every couple of weeks, or even do cleansing floor washes, but not many people physically use a besom. So when else would you use them? Well, typically in sacred circles, or when you're doing circle casting, you actually sweep the proximity.
Sorry, you guys. I just realized I got 2 super chats, and I don't know why it didn't send me a fucking email. Did this just come in? No, this, oh yeah, 554. So I just got a super chat from Julian Brewer. You are amazing. Thank you so much, Julian. I'm going to put you on the board. Thank you. Beautiful. I know you guys like to see when I put your name on the board. So let me go back to the main. Thank you, Julian. Appreciate you. Love it. Let me like this super chat right here. And then Madam Dram, thank you so much. Big, what do I want to do? Very big super chat. Congratulations on reaching the last of your 30s. 40s is even better. Treat yourself this Saturday. Thank you. I will. I'm going to chill. We're going to make you really big up there, Madam Dram. Thank you so much for that massive super chat. What am I going to do this weekend? I definitely want to chill. I need to go like get some clothes because I haven't gone like clothing shopping in a very long time. I wear a lot of the same clothes, which I don't have a problem with. I have no problem with that. As long as you guys, actually, you know what? I don't really care if you guys have a problem with that because it's not going to change. I don't go shopping that often, and that's how I like it. I'd rather have things that I wear often, like this sweater. I've worn this on Bon Appetit. I've worn this so many times. So I try to wear things often and, you know. All right, let's go back to our watch scene.
Circle with the besom before you cast the circle. So you want to remove the negative energy before you put up the spiritual circle, so that your sacred space is pre-cleansed of energy, so there's nothing interfering with your working. So that's another way you can use a besom. Besoms are also items of protection. So rather traditionally, if you place a besom this way up against a door or near a door, they act as protection for the home, stopping negative spirits and entities from passing through, which makes them a wonderful tool to use during Samhain and Beltane, when the veil between our world, the spirit world, and the world of the Fae is...
Okay, wait a second, because I think that's like what's happening now. And like I said, I don't subscribe to this, but like I think we're in the period of Samhain. Wicca. Samhain? Samhain is likely a misspelling of Samhain, a significant Wiccan holiday observed from sunset on October 31st to sunset on November 1st. So we're there, holidays. Look at you guys. I am timely, okay? There is a point to the green wig and to the topic today. As the Celtic New Year, Samhain marks the end of the harvest season, right? Which for cannabis, this is harvest. And so that's what this is. Everybody I'm talking, all my cultivator friends are like, I can't talk right now. They're in harvest right now. So you should be harvesting your plants and getting ready to cure and all of that fun stuff. So as the Celtic New Year's, Samhain marks the end of the harvest season and the beginning of winter, when the veil between the physical and spirit worlds is believed to be thin. Wiccan celebrations of Samhain often include honoring ancestors. So it's isn't that interesting that this is, I wonder if it had anything to do with like Dia de los Muertos, which is November 1st to November 2nd. So I wonder if like one influence, like if Dia de los Muertos like somehow got to, or if it's just like this thing with humans, like around that time of harvest, there's just kind of this common thing of you get to this time and you think about like you're getting to the end of the year. So you're thinking about your loved ones, you're thinking about you're going into to all of that. I don't know. I'm not a history, I was an art history major.
Very, very thin. so they're really great for protection of a home. You can also lay them flat underneath a bed, and they act as protection for the sleeper.
Hi, Philip Lerma from Texas. I love your creations and amazing personality, sister. Keep doing your thing. Thank you. I will. Thank you so much. Stay safe in Texas. And yeah, that's what I gotta say about that. Okay, sorry, this hair is wild. Ooh, happy early birthday. Thank you so much. Yes. Oh, my doggy needs to eat. You need to eat some food. Donate, eat some food. Okay, I gotta feed my dog, so I'm gonna keep playing this and feed Bonbon.
Or sleepers within that space. So that's another great use for them. So within Wicca, they have a few more correspondences that can be very interesting. So they are one of the few tools within Wicca and witchcraft that are both masculine and feminine, and that is because of the phallic handle and the broom base. They are both masculine and feminine. They represent the duality of the religion of Wicca in the traditional practice of it. Now, I know that more recently there are new versions of Wicca that celebrate masculine or feminine and not necessarily the duality of them, but when I'm referring to Wicca in this way, I mean traditional Wicca, traditional British Wicca, which is a dualist religion. So because they represent both masculine and feminine in this combined way, they're often used in celebrations of this union, and that is where hand fastings come in. Now, hand fastings are Wiccan and pagan celebrations, primarily Wiccan. They are the binding of two individuals together in harmony and in a marriage. Now, I know that now in England anyway, Wiccan hand fastings are actually a legal form of marriage, but I know that in other countries they aren't yet, so that's why I use the quotation marks. So they're actually used during hand fasting ceremonies, traditionally at the end of the ceremony, where the couple actually jump the broom. And it is the jumping of the broom that represents the passage from single life into married life. And it's also a celebration of fertility, and it's often a fertility ritual to jump over the broom because it represents the union of both male and female. So that's how they're used traditionally in Wicca.
Okay. Did I lose you guys? Sorry. Happy early birthday. Thank you guys so much. I appreciate you. Yes, I'm turning 39 on Saturday, and it is a privilege. I think we're good on this whole, like, the whole Wicca thing. Oh, I was gonna, let me go. I'll play a little more. Let me grab something.
Alongside all of this is their association with doorways. Now, they are very connected with Fae and woodland Fae energy because of the use of the wood in their making. But they are also representations of doorways. So in Wicca, that jumping the broom during a hand fasting or marriage ceremony is jumping over that pathway to jumping the door from single life into married couple life. They are also used in circles as actual doorways in the circle that you can pass through without breaking the circle. They can also be used to house spirits temporarily to be moved on into the other plane, and they can be used to assist.
Oh, I just want to pause. I just got a new member of the Edibles Club, Felix Schmidtick. Felix, welcome to the Edibles Club. If you're watching and that's how you joined, welcome. That is the best way to stay in touch. If you ever want to send me a DM, best way is via Patreon. The Edibles Club on Patreon is how to get a hold of me. If you ever have any questions as far as like, hey, I've got a bunch of weed, what do I do with this? All of that stuff, or like on page whatever of your book, what do you mean by this? I can explain it to you. Join the Patreon. It's $2 a month, and that still gives you a direct message to me. And then $5 gives you access to the Discord, so then you can be a part of our community.
Assist spirits in traveling from this plane to the next. Now, all of these connections to doorways are really important because they are often hung over doorways as protection or placed upside down by doorways to act as additional protection. If you don't have space for a big broomstick, or besom, and you don't necessarily want to have a giant broomstick by your front door, if you have an altar space like I have back here that you want to offer it a little bit of protection, if you place a besom or broomstick, it can even be something this size or smaller, upside down in one corner, whichever corner you like of an altar, you can act to protect that sacred space. So that's a really good way of using them as well. So this Halloween, when you see loads of people walking around the streets with broomsticks,
I got a new member of Patreon as well. I think we learned enough today about this. Let's go back to our main and just welcome our new member of my Patreon, Jennifer Jett. Welcome to my Patreon. You can, like I said, that's the best place to DM me if you want to get a hold of me. Patreon. I've been doing Patreon, the Edibles Club, since 2020. I'm actually going to pull a raffle, and if I pull your name out of the raffle, these are my patrons. You will get sent a prize, and it's going to most likely, definitely be the Edibles Club mug, which doesn't want to be focused right now, but whatever. Edibles Club mug. And then I also made this cookie. So I just want to say something about my recipes. Baba, no, you cannot have any cookie. There's chocolate in it. So my recipes, this cookie is based off of, here, I'll do it on the up close. Why not? We'll do it on the, oops, drop my lipstick. Go well. I'm going to show you on the close up. Boop it scene, not the watch, boop it. So this cookie, right? Is that in focus? Yeah. So it's white chocolate. I wish you guys could see it. Like, what I mean, you can see it. This is based on my cookie recipe in my cookbook, the chocolate chips Ahai recipe, and it's very versatile. You don't have to use chocolate chips. I actually took a chocolate bar that I had that I ate on the last sesh, or was it the sesh before? I had that chocolate bar with the freeze-dried strawberries on top, and I just chopped that up and I put it in this cookie with the leftover white chocolate from the spooky space cake pops, which was I loved that. Thanks again to Nasha Hash for sponsoring that reel. It was really cool. I'm going to take a bite so I can dip it in the milk. The white chocolate gives like this caramel flavor. I threw in some macadamia nuts. Oops. Oh, I dripped milk on my pants. Oh well. I don't know if you guys can see that. See the white chocolate? It's like dark chocolate, mac nut. It's a good cookie. Anyway, Maine. I love that recipe for the cookie dough. So just make that cookie dough. Make sure with cookie dough, you want to weigh your ingredients. So if your cookies are coming out dry, it's because you put too much flour, because you're not weighing out your ingredients. Because if you go and you scoop a cup of flour, right? When you scoop a cup of flour, you're gonna have too much, like if you pack it, flour can be packed. So it's better to weigh your flour. No. It needs those mac nuts. It's so good. Okay, last bite. I'm going to shove this whole thing in my mouth. You're smoking French toast? Is that a strain? Yum. That was really good. Baba, no. Okay, everybody, I'm going to pull a raffle. Finish up this pre-roll as we go out. From Nasha Hash. These are all members of my Edibles Club. Like I said, if you'd like to join the club, patreon.com/Edibles Club. It's a very cool club. Lots of wonderful people there. If you want to keep the sesh going. We have a Discord, everybody. I'm not looking. And when we reach 420 paid members, I have a giant box from a PR company that gifted me like a new device, and I'm going to gift it to a member of the Edibles Club. Right now, we're gifting club mugs to raffle winners. 1 secondo. Close this up so they don't fall out. And the winner is... Dun, 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 dun. God damn it. Come on. Okay, we'll go to the close-up cam. Don't look at my cuticles. Brett Haskins, you have won a club mug. And so I will send you, I actually have to send 2 messages out on Patreon to winners of the raffle, and we'll keep pulling winners until we reach 420 paid club members, and then I'm going to give away this big ass prize. So join the club. Your name will get put into the raffle. You'll get a chance to win this big prize that I got that is awesome. So you guys will like it. Trust me. Okay? So congratulations to Brett Haskins. There we go. And I'm going to light up my... And if you join the club tonight, you will be in the credits. If you're in the high 5 tier and up, I put your name in the credits. So if you don't see it tonight, it's because you just joined today. So I can't put you in the credits quite yet. But next time I go live, which will be not this Saturday, because Saturday's my birthday. I'm going to be taking it off for my birthday. But I will be live on Saturday. Petra, who is Brett? We have 270 something paid members of the Edibles Club. So, yeah, Brett is one of our club members who won the club mug. So I'm going to send him a message and get his address, and he will get the club mug from me. So thank you so much. If you are a member of the Edibles Club, you know I love my club members. If you haven't yet, my cookbook, How to Eat Weed and Have a Good Time, is available everywhere that books are sold for the most part, unless you're in like a conservative country and then maybe it's not for sale. But you can get my cookbook. It has that cookie recipe in it. I mean, I added macadamia nuts and white chocolate and other things, but you can really riff on the recipes there. The base recipes are good. The infusions are great. I ran over 200 lab tests for, no, Brett's not the guy that got blocked. Trust me, my club members are really cool. That guy who got blocked is not giving me any money. Okay? Those kind of guys, they don't ever support a woman. They're just there because they're bored and they're like, oh my God, attention. Oh my God, I got attention from a girl. Holy cow. So, no, my patrons are cool. It's a really cool club. All right, everybody, I'm going to roll those credits. We're going to end a little early this evening because I'm tired. And so I just want to say one more time, everybody give a special thank you, applause to Nasha. You can check out their new vape. You can check that out. It's at California dispensaries. And just want to say thank you for supporting my stream. Obviously, they are not, anything I say tonight has nothing to do with what they believe. They didn't even ask me to say that. I'm just saying that because I don't want any complications with them as a brand. They have no idea. Like, they're just, we love you. You're great. You make cool content. Here's some of our awesome products, and we appreciate that. But they're cool and they support what I'm doing here. And thank you everybody for the super chats this evening. Patty Bishop, Julian Brewer, Madam Dram, Jasmine, thank you so much for sending me the love. I appreciate it. That's what makes this stream possible. The Patreon, the super chats, because YouTube has demonetized me, because YouTube has decided that I'm a witch. I'm a witch. I'm a bad girl. All right, everybody. Have a good night. I hope you had a fun time learning about witches with me. Stay safe on Halloween. And remember who you are. Bum on. What you doing? Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Ooh, let him know. Ooh, boy. Okay. Good night, everybody.